Baldur's Gate 3 is a veritable masterpiece. From point A to point Z, from the plot to the characters, to the different choices you have to make in the game, the different levels of morality you can take your character. It is so in-depth, complex, and absolutely incredible. But there's part of Baldur's Gate 3 that I feel like we're not talking about enough, and that is that Baldur's Gate 3 is the horniest game ever, of all time. So horny. You can romance members of your party, you can hire sex workers, you can even get it on with characters you probably weren't expecting. In every female gaming group I'm in on Facebook, every day is just an absolute explosion of drooling over Astarion, and quite frankly, I think that's beautiful. He's perfect. Please do not respond with a comment that is not agreeing with me.
There are a lot of thirsty people around here.
But it's one thing to admire the game's eligible singles from afar. It's another story entirely if you want to make stuff happen. You know, stuff. In this video, you're going to learn everything you need to know about romance in Baldur's Gate 3 as a Baldur's Gate 3 hoe. How you can hoe, who you should hoe, who you definitely shouldn't hoe, and so much more. Without further ado, let's dive in to by far the weirdest video I've ever made and ever will make. Gale, the Wizard of Waterdeep, is a socially clumsy genius with a passion for magic, cats, books, and wine. So basically, he's perfect. He's a 10, but he eats your weapons and shoes, so his tum-tum doesn't hurt. While Gale's initial introduction is sure to leave an impression on you.
A hand? Anyone? Ow! Perhaps I should have clarified? A helping hand? Anyone?
The more you learn about him, the more you realize he's not just a quirky weirdo. There's so many layers to him and his relationship with you. Frankly, playing through Gale's romance feels like reading a romance novel. It's fantastically written, swoon-worthy, and emotional. There are real stakes and tension, and you'll play the main storyline in a different light at Gale's side. That is, until Act 3 when shit gets really weird.
He's a wizard. All they care about is power.
All I can say is be 100% honest with him the whole time and don't give in to his bullshit, and maybe you'll avoid the ending I got. I am still mad.
Go to hell.
To romance Gale, you must play as a good character. He approves of choices that are kind, empathetic, caring to animals, heroic, pacifist in nature, and showing fondness for magic and the arcane. Meanwhile, he disapproves of violence, cruelty, judgment, and apathy. Gale's route is best for true romantics. Basically, if you cried over The Notebook, this is your man. But if you want to be the main character in your relationship, or at least, you know, equal partners, then maybe pick somebody else. Shadowheart is the tsundere goth girl with a tragic past. In her romance, it's up to you to peel back the layers of darkness to discover her heart of gold, like a sexy onion. A cleric of Shar who seems to cycle between being friendly or stone cold, depending on the day, meeting you begins an epic journey of growth for Shadowheart. A journey that only intensifies and becomes more interesting once you begin to romance her. Similarly to Gale, she has a story deeply invested in the main storyline, and romancing her character feels like viewing the game from an entirely new and different lens. It also feels like viewing the game from a new and different lens because she was naked until she got mad and left in one of my playthroughs because I took all of her clothes and never bothered to give her anything else. Maybe if her clothes weren't so cute, I wouldn't steal them every time. To romance Shadowheart, choosing the right thing is usually the best option. She appreciates kindness to children and animals, acceptance of her religion, avoiding violence with your charisma, and, being racist toward Githyanki, I guess? But If you want to make her dry as the Sahara Desert, you'll want to be disrespectful, violent, nosy, cruel, and gith-loving. So basically, F Lae'zel. In the not hot way. In the, like, I don't like you way. Not in the other one. We'll talk about the other one later. Seductive, charming, cynical, and occasionally even sinister, Astarion is Larian Studios' answer to the bad boy character.
Gosh, you're beautiful.
Except he's also really pale and he wants to drink your insides. Hashtag just vampire things. A rogue with excellent insight, perception, persuasion, and deception, Astarion is the Swiss Army knife of Baldur's Gate 3. Pick locks, make stabbies. Disarm traps, pickpockets, and gaslight people into letting you do whatever the F you want. More importantly though, Astarion is hot. Like, really hot.
Why the hell? Sex, my dear. A night of passion.
The vampire thing, the scars, both literally and metaphorically. The tragic past, the haunted smile, his sole ability, the only person in this game who can rock a frilled collar. And though Astarion seems like a through and through asshole in the beginning,
I'm flattered, but I think not. It's not you understand. It's me. I have standards.
as you uncover more of his backstory, you begin to realize that there's more to him than meets the eye. Frankly, I actually went into my romance with Astarion assuming I wouldn't like it and I would feel like a bad person afterward. And it was sort of the exact opposite. I didn't expect to like him at all, and he's now my favorite romanceable character in the game. To romance Astarion, however, you two will have to become a little bit of an asshole, at least to an extent. Luckily, as he is an extremely dynamic character, your interactions will help shape him as a person and a character further down the line. So initially, he approves of pointless acts of cruelty, aligning yourself with evil goals and evil-aligned characters, obtaining power by any means necessary, and being a simp for him. Luckily, most of us have the last one down already, so we're doing alright. Meanwhile, he dislikes heroism and selflessness, being judged by you, and being concerned for others, especially those he perceives as weak. So, if you're planning to save the day and go out and be a hero, you may have to keep Astarion in his timeout tent.
I guess I'll spend my evenings lounging here while you do the hard work. It sounds awful.
Karlach is a fierce, feisty, red-skinned Zariel tiefling. You may initially feel like Karlach seems a little intimidating, but Karlach is one of the truly good characters in Baldur's Gate 3. She's basically a golden retriever wrapped in a tiefling's body, and if there's anyone in this game I could party with, I would absolutely choose Karlach. She is best girl, and I will hear no other opinions, thank you. Karlach has a history in the Hells as a frontline fighter in the Blood War. However, she never really had a choice. She was taken advantage of by someone she trusted and despises her former captor, Zariel. Zariel also removed her heart, replacing it with an infernal engine, and this makes up much of her storyline. Because, as a result, she is quite literally too hot to handle. Touching her would leave your little fingies burned. So much of her romance revolves around cooling her down, so things can heat up. Karlach is truly a cinnamon roll of a woman throughout the entire game. She just also happens to swear a lot, but fuck, who doesn't? As a result, when you romance her, you'll want to focus on choosing morally good things. She values heroism, protecting those who need help, kindness towards children, animals, and, of course, tieflings, and standing up to mistreatment. Unlike other good characters, however, Karlach has no problem with violence, so long as it's directed toward evildoers. Meanwhile, Karlach dislikes cruelty, cowardice, racism towards tieflings, obviously, and aligning yourself with evil allies, so for example, the goblins. Overall, Karlach is a sweetheart with a heart of gold. I absolutely adore her. Like Karlach, her romance route is heated at times, but overall it's surprisingly sweet, emotional, and tender. Okay, let's break this down. First and foremost, Wyll is a gorgeous man, and I am tired of the lack of respect. Exhibit A.
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade and suffer its sting.
Exhibit B.
You just have to buy enough time to run. Come on. I believe in you. You can do this.
And Exhibit C.
One night soon, when we make camp, the veil will be lifted, and I'll pay my penance.
I'm obsessed, like obsessed, with the fact that they made a character with a fake eye who's just covered in different kinds of scars, and he is this fine. Like, thank you for this gift, Larian.
Oh, goodness. My cheeks have gone warm. Am I blushing? I must be blushing.
But anyway, Wyll is your traditional hero type. He fights for good, protects the people he cares about, and even those he doesn't at times. And the most attractive characteristic of all,
I know. And you're right.
he's good through and through, and though his romance isn't as integral to the overall story arc, it does help you learn more about Wyll, his past, his motivations, and it helps you to really deepen your appreciation of him as a character, and seeing that there's more to him than just a singular dimension. However, many do describe his romance route as slow and lackluster. It's certainly not as physical as the other romances, but if you prefer a slower pace to create a deeper bond with your partner, Wyll could be the perfect choice for you. Like any true hero of the people, Wyll approves of kindness, protecting those in need, doing good for the sake of doing good, and vanquishing your evil foes, namely goblins and devils. Meanwhile, Wyll disapproves of lying, entitlement, cruelty, siding with Minthara over him, and aligning with evildoers. Lae'zel tends to be a pretty divisive character. Initially, she's aggressive and, quite honestly, pretty mean to you. However, Lae'zel is nearly a textbook tsundere, whose initial aggression serves to hide her soft and fuzzy heart.
Abominations grow inside us. Our bones should ache. Our mouths should bleed.
Okay, not quite soft and fuzzy, but you get what I mean. Lae'zel is a Githyanki, and if you're like me, and you're also like, what the fuck is a Githyanki? Here's the answer via the Forgotten Realms wiki. The Githyanki were a race of astral plane dwellers. Survivors of long enslavement by mind flayers, they became ruthless pillagers and raiders of many worlds in the prime material plane. So, if that doesn't do it for you, once again, I'm new to this, and I still don't get it. They're basically like skinny, angry Shrek. You're welcome. There's a lot of fascinating lore and religious complexities surrounding the Githyanki, both historically and over the course of the story. And whether you romance Lae'zel or not, there's the potential for her to have a redemption arc that makes her much easier to appreciate and even love. I probably don't have to tell you this, but if you want a relationship with Lae'zel, you'll need to be able to appreciate a woman who's gonna throw you around in the bedroom a little bit. She is not going to be your sexy, submissive girlfriend. You are going to be her little bitch, and you need to get ready for that.
Bienvenue, power bottoms!
Lae'zel leans more on the evil side, but I've definitely done good things that she's approved of as well, often to my surprise. Overall though, if you agree with her, denounce anti-Gith behavior and sentiment, and be powerful, courageous, and relentless, you'll get along just fine. Halsin's the bear guy. So further, Halsin is the only character who can participate in a polyamorous relationship, either with Astarion or Shadowheart. And while Halsin is known for being a bear, we need to take a second to appreciate this burly, delicious lumberjack of a man.
Do you know how hard it's been for me to contain myself? I'm almost frightened to touch you. If I give in, I may not be able to stop until I've devoured you.
Good yet? Me neither, but we have to get on with the video, jeez. Okay, jeez, one more, there.
Nevertheless, I will be gentle. Or at least, I will try.
Halsin is a druid with a past obsessed with justice. He's proud of his traditional druid roots and presents himself as serious and stoic, when in reality I'm kinda convinced he's just a thirsty little hoe. You and me both, Halsin. You and me both. Halsin's route is more casual than many of the other choices, but it has 2 sex scenes. I could barely contain my excitement. I'll see myself out. To win over the burly bear man, try to appreciate nature, show kindness to children and animals, partake in heroic deeds, and support his druidic beliefs and lifestyle. To send him back to the forest, disrespect animals, enforce cruelty, and make him feel like a big dumb leaf boy by rejecting his druid nature. But honestly, if you deliberately disrespect animals in this game and that's something you are able to roleplay, get off of this channel! My tiny army of rescued old men will not stand for this. Finally, let's talk about the evil drow with titties like Blau, Minthara. I can't believe I wrote that introduction and I'm reading it out aloud to you now. Minthara's evil, let's get that right out in the open. She's a devout absolute cultist, and all of her actions hinge on supporting this movement, as well as personally gaining more power and acclaim. Romance-wise, you're basically signing up to be her little bitch. Sort of like Gale, or Lae'zel, like she is the main character in your relationship. It's weird to say it like that. Gale's not gonna throw you around, but just trust me, he's the main character.
Indulging in a spot of vanity.
Ooh!
Handsome devil, aren't I?
But hey, that hasn't stopped a legion of BG3 players from pursuing her, and in fact, playing evil characters specifically just to woo her. Yes, the only way you'll be ready for this jelly is if you're willing to side with the goblins and kill all of the tieflings and druids in Emerald Grove in Act 1. I personally can't stomach that. But reviewers say her romance is a little lackluster, shallow, and short compared to the other romance options, so maybe Larian couldn't really stomach it either. Nevertheless, if you choose to pursue Minthara, make choices that align with her loyalty to the absolute cult. Prioritize her and her ideas and opinions, be her yes man, and frolic amongst the goblins to earn her approval. Meanwhile, if you're cowardly, indecisive, non-absolutist, or anti-goblin, you'll quickly earn her ire. But no worries. If it falls off, you can always just kill her and take her clothes. If you think I didn't kill her in my first playthrough just to steal her outfit, you're out of your goddamn mind. And that is the conclusion to the main romance routes in Baldur's Gate 3. In my next video, we're going to talk about all of the possible flings in BG3, so if you're interested in checking out more video game poetry, be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.